Hi guys. So we have Zara. We have the together. Hang on. Wait.
Care Bear.
Yeah, I know it's a Care Bear. He has to have his input. This is the togetherness Care Bear. So this is what represents what we are all here for. Togetherness. This is just a visual stim. You're welcome. I love it. A little bit Harry Potter, wouldn't you say, Cam? Oops. I just made it fall over. Okay, let's bring it in a bit. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay, and then I have Zara. I said that before, didn't I? Anyway, topic of... Oh, it's got a birthmark on his bum. It's a love heart. Oh, I've got a birthmark. It looks like a love heart when you do this upside down. It's like there's the peak of the love heart and it goes you. It used to be huge when I was a kid. Anyway, topic. You know what the topic is. But anyway, let's get into it. You can stay with Zara, okay? Because we're all in this together. This is a serious one for me because I feel like it too often is overlooked as not a severe conversation. So sorry for my bundling up here. I've got a heat pad. I've been getting a lot of tummy pain. Not my normal kind. Don't know what's going on. A little bit worried, but like, anyway. So I'm just, haven't been doing well health-wise. I know that I'm good at hiding it and pretending to be very well, but I really haven't been doing well. So even on my good days, they're not really what you think they are. For me, they're good, but in the sense of compared to the normal world, bad. But I want to talk about this topic in a serious way because I think that it's so important. And I know there's so many people like me out there who are sitting, let's just say, in the middle. Have you ever felt like you've been in the middle of something? Frustrating, right? Well, this is the same thing. This is not an understood position to be in because it's the middle. I don't think the middle of anything is always an easy position to be in. But anyway, it seems to be a common thread with the concept of being in the middle. But basically, there is high functioning autism, so to speak, where people can speak, have can intellectualize, even if they have learning disabilities and IDD like me. We can be given extra therapies and training and assistance and reminders and prompting and lots of resources, right? Then there's this so-called low functioning people who don't speak, who they assume just don't really know much or think much or are smart. Not true. So because of that, we don't use high and low functioning labels in autism anymore. And I think it's a very good change. And I know a lot will disagree. I only see a difference between verbal and non-verbal in the sense of communication, but in the sense of autism, there is no difference between verbal and non-verbal in the other stuff. And this is the bit that I'm talking about. I'm in that category where, yes, I can talk. Yes, my special interests, I'm like a Rayman concept where I am a encyclopedia for it and I can like just really just explain it so well and take me off that topic and I'm say what? I don't know who I am, who you are, what the world is. My head goes in a spin. Okay? there are situations that I am perceived as an adult to be able to handle that I cannot. That's a big one. I am under guardianship because of 22Q, because everyone with 22Q, when they turn 18, is meant to be under guardianship for safety for many reasons. And that's what I'm talking about here is autism is a spectrum, and there comes coexisting conditions. And for me, I'm tired of people, and I get it, everything like media, social media included, shows extremism. We show the really genius side of the autistics who are just like can read when they're 2 years old and going to uni at 6. I'm joking, but well, I don't know. Maybe that happens. Gosh, I've got a splitting headache. That's not a good sign. Anyway, and basically on the other side, you know, there's people that are non-verbal that they assume just are stupid. And it's like, no, they're not. So all of this is extremism. There's no truth to it. It's not black and white like that. It doesn't suit the real world or the DSM or anything to do with autism. It is a layman's misunderstanding of how it works. It's not black and white. There's so much grey. If it was black and white, it wouldn't even be called a spectrum. If you look up the word spectrum, it's complex. So for me, I need to be able to have assistance with decision making. I need assistance with safety as an adult. So for me, I can't just go out there and just turn up somewhere alone. I'm 51. I can't do that. If I was to do that, things could happen. Things could go wrong. And that's because of my vulnerabilities. I am a vulnerable person. I'm a special needs person. And just because I can speak, it doesn't mean that there's certain situations that I can handle compared to what is seen as, in the extremism world, as the only people who can't handle that. That's the problem. There is a lot of people that can't handle certain things with their autism and coexisting conditions that come with their autism, just the same as what a obvious, like literal Google search of what very severe autism is, because that's how the world measures it, even though in the DSM they don't do that anymore. But in the layman's world and in the old way of doing things take a long time to change. In anything medical, trust me, definitely happens like that. And so basically they are still working in that way. Now, in some sectors, I'm seeing change though. So it's not all bad and it's not all black and white there. Because there's many different agencies and different, like for example, me doing my national card, that is a big change. That is their way of saying, right, we're not only going to put the main symptoms on the back to keep you safe as a vulnerable person, because this is made for police and emergency services and just situations of if someone finds us and we're just don't know what we're doing or we're non-verbal, because a lot of us have selective mutism. So this is a card that's got a QR code that they can find out our whole medical situation with the coexisting comorbidities and know what they're dealing with, because it's a spectrum. So I could literally wander off in a meltdown, and I am not safe. I am just as unsafe as a 10-year-old child. Fact. And I never used to accept this to be true. I always used to fight this as being like, no, like, I'm so good with this, and this, my special interests and intellectualizing and all the rest of it. I thought, no, this social naivety, which is pathological social naivety, all of these things that I have that I'll never be able to change because of my condition and because of my autism and the things that come with it. This is who I am, and I have to accept it. And a sobering moment was when I basically went on a TikTok live just to play with it, just to muck around, to give it a test, right? I've done YouTube lives. That's, different, but one day in the future, guys, I might. But, I had this person jump in, and who knows if they're watching now, my YouTube channel, and I hope they are, because they would have lost me from TikTok, so I'm no longer on TikTok. So basically, this person was actually a minor, which I thought, oh gosh, and I said to her, I really, you shouldn't be speaking to you because you're a minor, right? Like, even though she was like 16 or 17 or something. But the only reason was she was neurodivergent, and she was saying this, and she was saying like this in like a private inbox thing. This person right now in your life is bullying you. And she was explaining what these comments meant, which are obvious to any adult. So Sir got really upset because out of protection, because he was like, what are you doing? Like, because I put myself in a dangerous position of nothing like me being harmed here, like in the physical real life, but just, guys, the things that I did and said because I was told to, the things that I was tricked on, you've got to realize, I'm not saying that people that are nonverbal, that need to be supervised and protected like me, that's not harder in a lot of certain ways as a spectrum. But when you're aware that you don't get the world, and the world is just laughing at you, making fun of you, and these people are young, and I'm 51 chronologically, it just feels so I realize that I'm socially exactly like the neuropsych explained, that I need to be protected, that I need to be careful, that I need online training and classes on how to be online safely, like a child does, like teenagers, etc. And I thought she was just being overprotective. And when I had that experience, it sobered me and snapped me out of it. And I realized, oh my gosh. And now later, as I've replayed some of the things that happened, as you don't think on the spot as an autistic, and you don't get it right then and there, and sometimes you've got to go back over things, and then really think about it, because you're that autistic that you don't understand what they're saying and doing. You don't have the comprehension. And people just think that there's only the non-verbals that experience this, but it's not. And when you're aware, and when you just keep trying and failing, it's just the worst place to be. And that's why a lot of us have so much empathy for the non-verbals who can't express maybe what they want to express, or why we want to protect them too. But the world is dangerous and awful. That's just a fact for people who are vulnerable, and we all know that. That's not something I didn't know. I just didn't realize that I was that low functioning in that area. And now I do. And sometimes it makes me even look at like things with my kids as they became adults, thinking, is that where I went wrong with being a doormat? Because I am a doormat to my children. I'm that vulnerable that I go towards my abusers begging for their forgiveness, because I'm that stupid. I beg my kids to be in my life, even when they're just walking over me when I was literally their slave. That's what having an intellectual disability does to us. And we need to hold space for that. We need to respect that that isn't a mental illness, that that is autism and it's coexisting conditions. And we can't therapy out of that at 51. And I've come a long way, but I can't change this part of me. That's who I am, with 22q and autism and IDD and a low social age compared to my chronological age. That is who I am. That is who I am. And I have to accept it. And I have to do online safety training classes now to make sure that I have the ability. And look, I'm not upset because of what trolls say. Don't get me wrong. You don't need to say to me, don't worry about what people say, but that is not an issue for me. I have self-esteem. I've got this. It's because I'm disappointed that I have to suffer the fate of being a person on this earth that didn't get given by God for some reason. Well, I kind of know why he did, because at least I'm good at being pure, but I'm not good at dealing with evil. So I will never see it coming. I will never be able to defend myself. And that's okay. My job on this earth, obviously, is to provide purity, is to provide innocence, is to provide being real and honest. And even if that's being too nice to my children who are being too hard on me and rude to me and nasty to me and just giving me a hard time, that is the wrong thing to do, which is so common for some of us parents. That's an era that's going on at the moment. It's a phenomenon. And then on top of that, even my own parents, like, you know, even though I'm forgiving them for things, it's, you know, they don't care. They, you know, just think I should just go away and die as well. Like, there's, you know, I'm chasing people that don't love me. And only people, it's not mental illness that makes you do that. I know that there's things in mental illness things that make you do that, yes. I'm not stupid. I've studied the DSM. I don't have a personality disorder. This is my IDD. This is my immaturity of thinking that everybody can get along. And it's just a naivety that I wish I didn't have. I wish that I looked at the world as, okay, not everyone's going to get along, and not everyone can just talk it out, because they just can't. They don't have that strength. That is beyond my understanding and capacity to understand that, because I have such an immature thought on things that things can always be worked out, you know. And I have to look at the flip side of it as being, well, at least that makes me look at the world as a wonderful place, as a pure place. That's the good part, isn't it, really? But I just want people to know about this type of thing, because there is no black and white in this. There is no just high functioning, low functioning. There is none. There is none. There is just a spectrum of autism, and each person with autism is unique in their spectrum, and coexisting and comorbidities and all the rest of it. And that makes their story their story. And this is my story. I'm not someone who is autistic and can function alone. I am autistic and need supports for it to quite a degree. Yes, there's people out there that need it to way more degree, but it doesn't mean that there's not people like me in the middle. And that's the point of my video. It's not black and white. There's not just one side and another side. There's a middle thing. And there's lots more in the middle. Some are like from, you know, middle to upper. Some from middle to lower. Whatever. Okay? And it's also a spectrum. So just because you have autism doesn't mean you have a coexisting condition. Just because you have autism doesn't mean you have a comorbidity. Varies. We're all different. But the fact is, the point I want to make is, don't forget about those of us in the middle that are very aware of the toxicity that people treat us like. We're very aware of the exclusion, which is bullying. We're very aware of being kicked out of families because we're the R word. We're very aware that we are the pure souls that always just want people to get along, and everyone laughs in our face because they enjoy being nasty. And we don't understand and see that. We can't be online to the capacity of other people because we can't discern, particularly in textual talk. We can't discern what's going on. We can't. And there's also internet lingo that we can't discern as well. And that makes us vulnerable to so many things. And then there's even more things than that. So it's a very frustrating place to be, because you know your deficits and you also know how people treat you, which is like crap, because what is this world good at? Treating people with intellectual disability, okay, with some kind of difference, with autism, with a vulnerability, special needs, they still treat us badly. We still can't trust the world. And that's why all of our loved ones don't let us out of their sight. And that's why all of our loved ones are burnt out, exhausted, mental health issues. But they are the salt of the earth people that are our world. And I'm grateful when I get told that I'm his world. But I just want to say, please hold space for people in the middle, because it's not easy, even though we can fake being something for a little while without masking or whatever. It doesn't mean that we're not noticing all of the people looking at us funny, making fun of us. I get made fun of right in front of me at the shops, wherever. I am that person. And I'm aware. And I live with it daily. And it's not an easy place to be. That's why we feel so protective of the nonverbals. And that's why people who fight, even on the highest end of the scale, if you want to believe in the high and the low or whatever, which there's not, it's a spectrum, but even they are suffering because this world was not built for autism or anything that coexists with autism, including medical issues like comorbidities. There's just no space for us in this world right now. We're in a very non-compassionate world, and we can't be ourselves all the time. And that's, especially when you're in the middle and you know that it's just so much more, so much less stressful to just pretend to be like, to get along, so that you don't get bullied, so that you don't get just made to feel weird or mocked or whatever. It's not a great place to be. But there's so many of us in the middle. It doesn't mean we matter more than the people that aren't in the middle and they're on the other sides of us. It doesn't mean that. It means that I just want to point out there's this middle that's quite large, quite long. It's not just in the middle. We suffer. And more than what people know on a daily basis. When I sit with my peers, I feel like a child. And that's always how it's going to be. Unless those people, and like I said, whether it's the carers, whether it's those certain people that autistics click with, there's not going to be everybody that we're going to be knowing we're safe around, basically. And that makes our world small. So if you're in an autistic's world, or if you're an autistic and you let people in your world, those people we need to thank or just be grateful for, because so many just don't want to associate with us. And shame on them for treating people with autism still like the R word. Shame on them for thinking that special needs people still need to just stay away because you're just weird, or you need to act like a normal person or else kind of people, you know. That's like still exists. So let's hope that we can make a difference. So keep advocating, advocators of autism. Keep advocating. Keep sharing. And just know that, like, it's not just you non-verbal carers that struggle. I struggle in the middle, and my carer struggles watching me in the middle. He can't take his eye off what's going on because there's always someone ready to take advantage of me. So there's a lot of people with that stress that share that stress, and just open up your hearts to understand that it's not just you if you've got a non-verbal that's suffering that isolation. There is so many people in the middle, and us and the carers, we get it. She lived the same life, actually. Yeah, she lived the same life. There's not a lot of difference. There just isn't. What needs a nonverbal might take up, that's perceived more than my autism needs, might then mean that, well, my 22q needs makes up for that. And then the social vulnerabilities of making sure that I'm always supervised socially, that's a big responsibility for anyone to have to take on for another adult. And any of you with a nonverbal knows that responsibility is big and stressful, because you don't, are they happy? Am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right decisions? It's a big deal. There's so many in the middle, and I want to say to you guys in the middle, to you and your carers, which is you and your family probably, because most people are just family that put up with us. Not that we're hard to put up with. It's, we only become, I guess, autistic when we walk out the door. That's what Tony Atwood says. When we're home or around our people, we are fine. It's when we go out into a world that says, you need to be different. No, you're not going to be allowed to be yourself. That's where the problem lies. Don't forget that. So I'll see you in the next video. And I hope you got something out of this. So if you did, comment below. Let me know what you liked about this chat about autism, coexisting comorbidities, all of the whole spectrum of it, and where people sit along this, you know, so-called low, high-functioning extremism. But the middle, what do you think about the middle? There's a lot of us in the middle. And even if you're not in the middle, it doesn't matter. Autism is real. As in, the struggle is real, having autism in a society that says, we don't want you. We don't operate like you. So, take care. And I'll see you in the next video.